Yolan True, and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And as you've seen in the title and on the thumbnail, because of some recent returning events, I thought it's about time to quickly talk about some Isolytic Crew. Because we had some events, I think it was twice now, where you had to cause isolytic damage to score well in the leaderboard, etc. And it was even an alliance leaderboard where you had to score for your alliance. And so, of course, you want to know how to create or to cause the biggest isolytic damage in that case for these events. And the good thing is, some buttons that were not in the game for a very long time, and one is on the bottom left here, right next to the sorting button, but I mean the little one here. There you can filter your officers, and you see right at the beginning there is one button for isolytic damage, and if you click that and apply, you get a list of officers right below that button that cause isolytic damage. It's not necessarily the ones I have on the bridge at the moment and below deck. That's for something else. But all the ones you see here on the bottom. And there you can look through then which one of those might help you. We have Enterprise E-Data, we have Pelia, we have 7 of 9, Enterprise E-Car, and so on. But you still need to have a really close look at each officer of that list. But the list is short, so to speak, and so it's easy to go through all the officers, because there are some officers in there that only cause isolytic damage on other players, and for these events you need to cause isolytic damage on hostiles, and so you will not use the officers that are only working against players. But one good example for this, for example, is Catherine Janeway. If you have a look at it, she causes isolytic cascade damage, and that's also isolytic damage. So she will be one of your candidates. Enterprise E Picard will be one of your candidates because he increases isolytic cascade damage by 5% for 3 rounds. Then let's have a look at Pelia. She was usually the one that is reducing that. So with her you will not cause damage, but with Data you will cause some damage because he increases the isolytic cascade damage as well versus non-Armada hostiles, and if you want to hunt normal hostiles, he'll be helpful. 7 of 9 is one of the examples. She does cause isolytic cascade damage, or increases your cascade damage below deck, but only versus players. So 7 of 9 will not be a big help on that one. Andy Billups is another one with isolytic cascade damage under certain circumstances, but also only for players. DeMarco is another one, and she has an officer ability that increases isolytic cascade damage against armadas and invading entities. That will only help you against those, but not against hostiles. And below deck, she has it for PvP, so it will not be for players. So if you have an event like this, where armada damage and invading entity damage also counts, then DeMarco is another candidate for your bridge as well. Mirror Picard will only be a PvP officer for this, so he's on this list, but not good for your fighting against those hostiles. The same with Jack Ransom, he's only against players too. The same with Jax, he's also only against players. And the Isolytic Cascade and Mariachi Q will only help you against players too. But the officers I've shown you, with Enterprise E-Data, with Enterprise E-Picard, with Janeway, and in case of armadas and invading entities, DeMarco, those are officers you will want to increase your isolytic cascade damage. You will also be able to improve that that I didn't want. I wanted the info here. You have Chapel as well for below deck for the Isolytic Cascade damage against non-Armada hostiles, so you can include her. But when you want to cause a lot of cascade damage, you also will want to cause, now let's take those out here for a second, you will also want to cause critical damage. So if you use Janeway, Picard, Data on, or DeMarco or so on your bridge, the cascade damage is also influenced by your critical damage. So you don't have enough officers for Isolytic damage to fill all the slots. If you have a ship upgraded like mine, it's now my Voyager. I just used that one now because it was in the dock. But if you have to fill more slots, you want to add more officers that use critical damage, because the critical damage will have an influence on how big your Isolytic Cascade damage will be. So you will mix those Isolytic Cascade officers. For example, if we take those now, or if we do it that way, it doesn't matter if you want some synergy for Picard, but he only has the loot reward here, so you might want to skip the synergy and do it that way. But if you have those on the bridge, for example, you want to fill below deck with officers that will either increase Isolytic damage. That's why I have Chapel below deck, but you also want to fill it then with officers that do critical damage. So I used everything that I have in the case of Isolytic damage, and now I switch the filter to critical damage and have a look what officers can I add to have some more critical damage. For example, if we scroll a bit, Enterprise E. Troy is a good one for that one. Odo is a good one for critical to add here. And if you of course wanna mix in some other status, like I have B'Elanna on the below deck here, because I usually for that use my Rotaran, which really needs hull breach. Then I use B'Elanna, but I also often add Neelix for burning, or Harry Kim for morale. Those are options you also have. So this time I will not tell you a certain crew. I will just, my intention was just to show you how to use the filter to find the right one for you here. First for Isolytic damage and then for critical damage, because you will want that combination. And there, have a look what officers you have. In most cases, like the Armadas and everything, I can only give you the one best crew, the three best crews for that, or like the mission bosses and everything. In the case of the Isolytic damage, it really is more important to find all the officers that are suitable that you have. So look for the officers that work like I did with a filter on Isolytic damage first, and then fill the rest of your open slots with critical officers and officers that cause a state either on the hostile or on your own ship, to boost your fighting, because those events are really a grind. You have to grind and grind and grind, and you don't want to fly back and forth too often. So you want to cause as much damage as you can, and as quickly as you can with as little rounds as necessary on those hostiles. And you want to do as big hostiles as possible for that one. So use both filters. First Isolytic damage, then the critical damage and the critical chance. And that will boost your damage and your Isolytic damage in the end. And then you can score well for your alliance and for yourself. I hope that was a little bit of a help for especially our newer players that are getting in touch with events like this for the first time. How to improve your gameplay, how to help your alliance score better. And my alliance won't like that, because we were first in that event. And so if I'm telling other people how to be better, might challenge us, but it is how it is. And being challenged improves your own gameplay, I always say, so why not? If you want to add something to that, especially the experienced players that are watching, please write it in the comments below the video and on Discord. And I'll see you in the next video, and that is right here in the end screen.